Welcome to Tech Guru Technology. My name is Imran Khan. In this video, you will learn about lookup function, offset function, and I'll explain difference between VLOOKUP and lookup function, and also between VLOOKUP and offset function. So let me start. Let me open my workbook. So here, see the employee detail. That means our data is here in the employee details tab, right? So go to the next tab, and I'm just going to type formula lookup, enter tab. So you can see there are two formula here. The first one is lookup value. In the first one, there are three parameters: lookup value, lookup vector, and result vector. Right. The second one is lookup value and array. Let me explain the first one. Right. For in lookup value, we need to know we need to input our employee ID. Right. Then lookup vector, where in which column our employee ID exists. So see here, employee ID exists in the column A. So let me give the reference of that column. I'm selecting entire column here, and then the next one is result vector. So what we need here, actually, we are searching out employee name. So employee name in column B. So that's why I'm just selecting column B. Correct. Now hit and enter. Let me see. Oh yes. So you can see that VLOOKUP and lookup, they both are looking similar, right? Because it's also giving the same kind of result. For employee ID 2, if we need employee name, to see here at the employee ID 2, the name is John, right? But how can we differentiate between VLOOKUP and lookup? The main drawback of limitation of that lookup function is data should be in ascending order, right? Let me do something like, let me write giving 5 employee ID to Imran, and then giving 1 to Deepika, right? Let me see what will happen. You can see here that the employee ID 1 is already exist in our column. You can see here, however, our result is giving hash NA. So that's why we are not using, rarely we are using this lookup function, right? We are using, most of time we are using VLOOKUP, index match, and offset also. I'll explain offset later. So let me change again 1 and then 5. See here the result. So you can see the result is, no, it's giving proper result, right? So now the second one, if we write VLOOKUP, sorry lookup, if we write lookup, and then you see the second formula here, lookup and then lookup value and array. What does it mean? This is quite similar with the match, right? So let me explain. Let me demonstrate the lookup value, whatever, and the employee, and okay, and employee ID is here column A. So I'm just selecting column A, hitting enter. You'll see the 3, right? That means it will give the position of the employee ID in this column. So it's excluding the first row, the header row, and then giving the position. For example, here you can see that position of 3 is at 3, third number from the employee ID, right? So you can see the 3. So our result is 3. I think uh, so we are rarely using lookup function, right? And then now let me explain the offset function we are using. It's very useful function. And no, interviewer can ask difference between lookup and VLookup. And the second one, uh, type of parameters in offset function. So they can ask how many parameters you can pass in offset function, and how many parameters are optional, and how many parameters are mandatory, right? Here you can see there are 5 parameters. The one is reference, the second one is rows, the third one is columns, the fourth one is height, and the fifth one is width. So if you're not passing value in height and width, so this formula will work properly, right? So those parameters height and width are optional. So please keep remember all parameter passed in offset function, right? Here I'm not giving all details of offset function. I'm just showing how can you use offset function as a VLookup, right? As a lookup function, right? So you can look up value from a different tab. So let me explain. Let me show you. Here you can see the first one is reference. So I am giving the reference of employee name. Why? Because I am searching out employee name based on the employee ID, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm just giving reference. For that, I'm going to apply details tab and giving reference. Okay, that's done. And what next? The next is rows. For rows, we need match function to make our formula dynamic. Otherwise, you can give the row number, but it's not dynamic, right? So that's why I'm just using match function. In the match function, let me give the lookup value and the array of employee ID here. Okay, exit match, and the reference column is what? The reference column is employee name, and we are just finding out employee name. That's why I'm giving the column as 0. Correct. If I am giving column as 1, then it will display result of sex, right? If I'm giving column number -1, then it will display the result like employee ID. So let me enter. Wow. So I'm getting the value like VLookup, right? So then let me show you. If I change it to 1, what will happen? See that we are getting the result of sex here, right? If I'm changing it to -1, then what will happen? It will give you the result of employee ID. So this is the main difference between VLookup and offset function, right? In offset function, you can take either the value from the reference column, from the left side of reference column or right side of reference column, or up or down. We can also get value of up and down. For example, let me change the reference here. The reference is v1. v1, that means here, right? So if I'm giving the reference here at b3, what will happen? b3, okay. Okay, so that means you can see that the result is not different now. So that means you can move the from the reference column to either left or right or up or down. So you'll get the left, right, and up and down value with the offset function. This is very beneficial to interviewer can always ask what is the difference between between the uh, VLOOKUP and offset function. So you please keep remember that VLOOKUP is worked only right hand side, right? It will display the data, no, with the if for example, if we are just searching out data of our employee ID, so VLOOKUP will only display data right hand side of that employee ID, right? We can only search, for example, employee name, sex, PF, and base salary, right? So if there are a few columns before that employee ID, for example, if I'm inserting column here, so if there are a few columns that like father name, so our VLOOKUP function cannot display that result. Okay, so but offset function you can display result of, you can get data from the left hand side of that common column, the lookup column, right hand side up and down also. Okay, hope you like my video. Please subscribe my video. Thank you so much for watching my video.